Hello, now I'm going to show how do you execute a JMeter script and how do you analyze and interpret the results. So to use the script, you need to launch the JMeter, okay, and you need also to launch the server. So the backend needs to be available so that you can use invoke the web services that are defined there. Then you open the script, okay, dashboard, and this is our script. Okay, we're gonna just test it for 10 students and a question of or a quiz with 5 questions. But of course, you could run it with more students, and actually to do a real load test, you run it with hundreds or thousands of students. So it's pretty simple. Just the server is up now, so I can just click there, start, and it starts invoking. Okay, it finished. This was quick, of course. So let's see what happened. And now you can observe with this view results tree. You see that was invoked 10 times the login, so 10 different students. Let's observe what happened with each one of them. So you have here the request that was sent, though was the request sent, and the request headers. This is the request body and the request headers, and then the response data. So the response body, we'll see that we receive what? A token, and this is the token. Actually, that's what you need, and that's what is actually collected here. Okay, so the information is there. Okay, and this is the request header is a 200. Okay, so that's what you received, and actually you could have picked more information, and you have, so if you observe, different students receive different tokens, okay, that are stored in each one of these variables, and afterwards go to this variable to be used in the other threads group. And then you have the summary report, where you have latency and throughput. So it means that on average, the login of a student took 350 milliseconds, okay, with the minimal and the max here, okay, and it is a throughput for this load of 11 requests per second, okay, good. Now let's move to this one, and here you see that it was the teacher, and you see the teacher does the login and then creates questions, create the quiz. So he creates 5 questions, creates a quiz, and then we have the debug sampler. Let's observe each one of them. When he does the login, is pretty similar as the student does the login. So you have the header and the response data. You have the token. This token actually is collected, and it is used in the request here. In the request header, we will see that the token is sent there, okay, because it was collected. Actually, if you remember, this is defined here, okay, but you can observe what actually happens in each invocation. And so what is the request? The response data, we'll see that each data answers with a different ID. So because it's the ID of the question, like 78, 79, 80, 81, and 82. Such that these values are collected here. Okay, they are collected here, if you remember. And when you actually create the quiz, in the request body will send the values there. Okay, and they were built using this bin shell preprocessor, and were built using these question IDs there. Okay, but this is what is actually sent. Okay, and then you have a very nice construct that can help you, and is to collect the values of the variables. So if you read this, we'll see that, for instance, the response data will see the values here. So you can check if everything is okay it helps you to do the debug when you build your scripts. So if you look at this, so question ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, look, question ID and the number of the question, and this is what is stored, okay, and it's what actually is used here, and in the real invocation is what is actually being used there. Okay, and you can check here that everything was okay. Good, right? And of course now you just run and you see the performance of each request. In this case it's not very significant because you have done only one or a couple of requests. Here is more interesting. You basically do the 10 requests, or the 10 users answer the quiz, and then you see users here answering the quiz, and you see that they are concurrent. Look, two students start the quiz, so it's not sequential. So the students are basically answering the quiz at the same time. They're starting, they conclude, and you have the debug answer for each one of the debug sampler for each one of them. Okay, and you see here the variables that each one of them use. In this case, it's interesting observing this question that we described, where we say that we pick. So when we pick a different option randomly, we pick different options that the students pick different options. Okay, and these are the options that ID that are collected, and if I go to another sampler, we'll see that it's different values. So the first one here is 405, and in this case it is 407. Okay, and you can check these, and you can check that everything is okay. So, but let's see. So when you start the quiz, you basically, this is your request body that was built by you, and no, this is what you receive. But when you request, basically, the start is just invoked, but when you conclude the quiz, this is what you send. Okay, these are, look, and these are your options there. The options are there. Okay, and if you different, so this student answered with these options, another student, actually this one is very similar, with the same options, but this answered with different options. Actually, let me just check. Yes, the first and the second one use the same, but another, so it's different options here. Okay, different options are being sent because our script defines it. And finally, you can see the results. To be more, to provide something richer, let's execute with 1,000 students. Okay, so to get more relevant information from the point of view of performance. Here I clean, so I clean the previous invocation, and I do 1,000 at the same time. This is gonna take a little bit more, and when you are actually run it to collect real data, you should use not the UI interface, and you can see how you can launch the JMeter from the command line, so that the UI interface does not impact on the performance, because of course you are running these from UI is different from running from the command line. Okay, let's just see how things are going. Here probably everything is finished, everyone answered. Here still the teacher, so probably there are still logins there occurring. You can observe it here. Yes, look. So it's occurring. So we had so far 800 students that have done the login. Look, the average now is much higher because the load is bigger, so it takes on average 14 seconds for a student to do a login. Okay, it's pretty high, but we are talking about 1,000 students doing login at the same time. Okay, and the throughput is similar. It's basically 12 students can do the login per second. Login is a pretty demanding operation. So it's finished here. So probably goes really fast for the teacher, because the teacher finished, and then the students start answering, and look, the students are answering the quiz concurrently, and we can observe here. Okay, so even though it's not that bad, so it takes an average of 7 seconds to start the quiz and 6 seconds to conclude the quiz. Actually, this is the Quiz Studio provides different ways to answer quizzes. This is the one that is this is the one where basically you receive the quiz, all the information, and you answer at the end everything, but is that not actually what happens when you're doing using the quiz to grade students. This is just for training. The reason is because in this case, when you start the quiz, you get all the information, and you could have an attack that basically you read questions in advance, okay? But actually, there's another script here where you test when it is different types of quizzes for grading, where you just receive one question each time. So you answer the question, you get the next question. You answer the question, you get the next question. So you cannot get all the questions, and actually in this case the performance is worse, as you can imagine, because you have two queries here per quiz, and in other case we have much more invocations per quiz. Okay, but let's see. So what we have on average, you start quiz is 11 seconds, and to complete a quiz on average it was 13 seconds. Okay, that's it.